In the quiet moments before sunrise, a wide field rests beneath a soft layer of fog, and the air feels cool and gentle as it settles slowly over the land. A lone farmer stands quietly in the distance, not moving, not rushing, simply present within the stillness, as if he has always been there. The ground is calm, the sky is dim, and nothing asks for attention. Nothing needs to change. The cold morning air moves softly, almost without sound, and everything feels steady, safe, and unhurried. And as this quiet day begins, you can remain here, listening slowly, letting each small moment pass in a calm and gentle rhythm. So if you feel ready to rest, you can stay and follow this peaceful scene as it unfolds, guiding you softly towards sleep. Chapter 1: The Slow Beginning Before Sunrise. The farmer wakes slowly, not all at once, but in a quiet and gradual way, as if the morning itself is still resting and has not yet fully arrived. And for a few moments he lies still on his bed, feeling the cool air in the room, and the air is calm, unmoving, carrying a faint scent of wood and earth that lingers gently in the space, and nothing disturbs the silence. Nothing calls for attention. Everything remains steady and quiet. The light has not yet reached the room in any strong way, only a soft gray tone that rests lightly against the walls. And as his eyes open, he does not move immediately. He simply breathes, slowly and evenly, allowing the stillness to remain for a little longer. After some time, he begins to sit up, moving carefully, placing his feet on the floor, and the surface feels slightly cool, slightly firm, and very familiar. And he pauses there, sitting quietly, letting the moment settle before he stands. When he rises, his movements are slow and steady, and he reaches for his clothes, putting them on in the same simple order as always. Each action repeated, each step known, and there is no need to think, no need to change anything, only to continue in the same calm rhythm that has shaped many mornings before. He walks toward the door and opens it gently, and the air outside feels colder, slightly damp, carrying the faint scent of soil and grass, and a thin layer of fog rests across the ground, moving so slowly that it almost appears still. And he steps outside, closing the door behind him with a soft and quiet motion. The world around him is calm and empty, the land stretching outward in soft shapes, the sky dim and pale, and the field lies in the distance, waiting in the same quiet way as always. And he begins to walk toward it, his steps slow and even, his body moving without urgency. The ground beneath his feet feels slightly uneven, a mix of soil and small stones, and each step produces a soft sound that fades quickly into the stillness, and the fog shifts gently around him as he walks, not breaking, not moving quickly, only drifting in a slow and steady way that matches his pace. The air remains cool, touching his face and hands with a gentle chill, and he breathes in slowly, allowing the cold air to settle within him. And nothing interrupts this moment. No sudden sound, no sharp movement, only the quiet presence of the early morning. As he walks, the shapes of the field become clearer, though still softened by the fog, and the land appears wide and open, covered in soil that feels dark and calm. his pace, not hurrying, simply moving step by step in the same steady rhythm. After some time, he reaches the edge of the field and pauses, standing still for a moment, looking across the land, though he is not searching for anything, only observing what is already there. And the fog rests lightly over the ground, and the sky remains dim, and the air remains cool and still. He steps forward into the field, his feet pressing gently into the soil, and the texture beneath him feels soft and slightly damp. And he walks slowly along the same path he has followed many times before, and his movements remain calm, steady, and without change. He reaches a simple tool that rests where it was left the day before, and he bends slowly, picking it up with care, and the weight of it feels familiar in his hands. And he stands again, pausing briefly before beginning his work. The preparation is simple and unhurried, and he begins by moving a small section of soil, not quickly, not forcefully, but in a slow and steady motion, and the sound of the tool touching the ground is soft, a gentle contact that repeats as he continues, and each movement follows the same pattern: lift, press, pause, and lift again. The rhythm forms quietly, blending into the stillness of the field, and the fog continues to drift around him, and the light begins to grow slightly, though it remains soft and without sharpness. He continues working in this slow and repetitive way, and there is no need to hurry, no need to change his pace, and the time passes without clear measure, carried forward by the steady repetition of his actions. The air remains cool, the ground remains soft, and the field holds its quiet presence, and the farmer continues, moving slowly, preparing the land one small motion at a time, and the morning unfolds in the same calm and uneventful way, without interruption, without any sudden change. Only the gentle and continuous rhythm of a quiet beginning. Chapter 2. The Slow Work. Across the field. The farmer continues his quiet work as the soft light of morning slowly spreads across the field. Though it does not arrive suddenly, it only grows gently, little by little, and the fog begins to thin in a calm and gradual way, still resting low upon the ground, still moving slowly, and the air remains cool, though slightly less cold than before, carrying the same faint scent of soil and grass that lingers steadily without change. He stands in the same place for a moment, his hands resting lightly on the handle of his tool, and he looks down at the soil beneath him, not searching for anything, not expecting anything different, only observing the ground as it is, soft, slightly damp and quiet. And then he begins again, lifting the tool slowly, pressing it into the soil, and pausing before lifting it once more. The movement repeats in a steady and even rhythm: lift, press, pause, and lift again. And the sound of the tool touching the earth is soft, almost blending into the silence, and each small motion follows the one before it, without change, without variation, creating a calm and steady pattern that fills the space around him. The ground responds gently to each movement, the soil shifting slightly, not with any force, but in a quiet and gradual way, and the texture remains soft beneath his feet, slightly uneven, slightly firm in some places, and he adjusts his stance slowly, taking a small step and then another, moving forward in the same measured pace, never rushing, never stopping abruptly, only continuing. A light wind begins to move across the field. Though it is not strong, it does not disturb the calm. It only brushes softly against the surface of the land, causing the grass at the edges of the field to sway in a slow and gentle way. And the movement is subtle, almost unnoticeable, and the air carries this motion quietly, without sound, without change in rhythm. The farmer continues his work, and his hands repeat the same motion again and again. Lift, press, pause, lift again. And the pattern remains unchanged, steady and predictable, and time passes without clear measure, without any distinct moment marking its movement. Occasionally, he pauses for a little longer, standing still with the tool resting lightly in his hands, and he looks out across the field. Though there is nothing new to see, only the same wide land, the same soft light, the same calm presence that has been there from the beginning. And after a moment, he returns to his work, repeating the same gentle motions once more. The distant sounds of nature begin to emerge softly, not loud, not sudden, only faint and far away. Perhaps the quiet call of a bird, or the subtle rustling of leaves in the distance. And these sounds do not break the silence. They become part of it, blending into the same calm and steady atmosphere that surrounds the field. The farmer moves slowly across the land, taking small steps, each one placed carefully, and the soil beneath him shifts slightly with each movement, and he adjusts his balance without thinking, without effort, and the rhythm continues. Step, lift, press, pause, step again. The light continues to grow, though it remains soft, without harshness, and the shadows on the ground become slightly clearer, though they remain gentle, and the fog is thinned further, though it has not disappeared. It still lingers in small patches, drifting slowly, almost without movement. He continues to work in the same quiet way, and there is no change in his pace, no variation in his movement, only the same steady repetition that carries the morning forward, and his breathing remains slow and even, matching the rhythm of his actions, and the world around him remains calm, unchanged, and predictable. From time to time, he bends slightly, touching the soil with his hand, feeling its texture, its softness, and then he stands again, returning to the same motion. Lift, press, pause, lift again. And this small variation does not change the rhythm. It only becomes part of it, another gentle movement within the same steady flow. The wind continues to move softly. The distant sounds remain faint and far away, and the field stretches quietly in all directions, holding the same calm presence. And the farmer remains within it, moving slowly, working steadily, and allowing the time to pass without notice. There is no moment when the work begins or ends. It simply continues, one small action following another, and the repetition creates a quiet and almost hypnotic rhythm that fills the space completely, and nothing interrupts it. Nothing changes it. Everything remains as it is, calm, steady, and uneventful. And so the farmer continues, moving slowly across the field, touching the soil, lifting and pressing, stepping and pausing, and the morning flows gently onward, without urgency, without change, only the soft and continuous continuous rhythm of work that asks for nothing more and gives nothing less than the quiet passage of time. Chapter 3: The slow return and gentle rest. As the quiet work of the day continues without any clear ending, the light and the soft brightness that once rested over the field gradually becomes warmer, then softer, then dimmer, as the sun lowers gently toward the horizon, and the farmer continues his steady movement for a while longer, repeating the same calm actions: lift, press, pause, and step, until there is no longer any need to continue, though there is no sudden moment that tells him to stop. Only a quiet sense that the day is slowly settling. He pauses, standing still in the field, his hands resting lightly on the tool, and he looks out across the land, which now appears softer in the fading light, the shadows stretching slightly longer, and the air has changed as well, becoming cooler again, carrying the same faint scent of soil and grass, though now it feels deeper, more settled, as the evening begins to take its place. After a moment, he begins to move again, not toward more work, but slowly back along the same path he walked in the morning, his steps even and unhurried, and the ground beneath him feels familiar, slightly uneven, slightly firm, and he walks with the same steady rhythm, step after step, without any need to hurry, without any need to change his pace. The farmer continues his walk, and the fog begins to return in small patches, resting low upon the ground, drifting slowly, and the air feels cool against his face and hands, and he breathes in deeply, allowing the calm to settle within him. As he reaches the edge of the field, he pauses briefly, looking back once more, not searching for anything, only observing the same land that has remained unchanged throughout the day. And then he turns and continues toward his home, his steps soft, his movement steady. The small house comes into view slowly, its shape simple and quiet against the fading light, and a faint warmth seems to rest within it, though nothing moves, nothing calls out. It simply waits, just as it did in the morning. He reaches the door and opens it gently, stepping inside, and the air within feels slightly warmer, carrying a soft and familiar scent. And the room is dim, though not completely dark, and he closes the door behind him with a quiet motion. Inside, everything remains as it was, the same simple arrangement, the same calm presence, and he moves slowly across the room, placing his tool aside carefully, and then he begins to prepare a simple meal, not not quickly, not with any change in pace, only with the same steady rhythm. After some time, he sits and eats slowly, each movement gentle and unhurried. And there is no rush, no interruption, only the steady continuation of the same calm rhythm that has filled the entire day. When the meal is finished, he cleans the small items he has used, repeating the same careful motions, and then he places them back in their proper place, and the room returns to its quiet stillness. The light has now faded further, and the space grows dimmer, and the air feels cool and settled, and he begins to prepare for rest, removing his outer clothing slowly, placing each piece aside, and his movements remain gentle, steady, and unchanged. He walks toward his bed and lies down carefully, and the surface feels familiar, firm and calm, and the blanket rests lightly over him, and the air around him is still, carrying no sound, no movement, only quiet. His breathing begins to slow, becoming deeper and more even, and the day does not return to him in separate moments. It does not stand out in detail. It simply blends into one continuous flow. The waking, the walking, the working, the returning, all part of the same quiet rhythm. And as his eyes close, that rhythm continues softly, without change, without interruption, carrying him gently into rest and into sleep. As the night settles over the land, the field remaining still beneath the fading light, and everything rests in the same calm and steady silence.